This is an ingredient that I use a lot. This is mascarpone. The reason that I personally use it a lot is because I make a lot of tiramisu. In our family here, tiramisu is my job because it's one of the few things that I know how to make. And honestly, my secret is that I just follow Ava's recipe in our cookbook to a T. Recently I was making one though, and I was thinking about this ingredient, and I realized that I don't really know what it is. Everyone calls it mascarpone cheese. Is it a cheese? It doesn't taste cheesy. And more importantly, other than tiramisu, what the heck is it used for? So first let's cover what it is, because that was pretty easy to find out. I just asked Ava. Really all that mascarpone is it's cream that has been solidified. So you take cream, you heat it up, you add an acid, it like coagulates, and you've got mascarpone. It has basically the same consistency of like cream cheese, but it is absolutely not cheese, and it's not cultured in any way, so it doesn't have that tangy, cheesy taste. Mascarpone was invented in Italy, specifically in the region of Lombardy, in either the 1500s or the 1600s, so it's pretty old. But, and this might surprise some of you, tiramisu wasn't invented until the 60s, the 70s. It doesn't even appear in a cookbook until the 80s. So for several hundred years, they had mascarpone, but they weren't making tiramisu with it. What were they doing with it? Now, I've been to some fancy restaurants where a cook has like a signature dish or whatever, and they incorporate mascarpone into something. But in terms of like just common, traditional, home-cooked food, what do Italians do with mascarpone other than tiramisu? That's what I wanted to find out today. So I've asked Ava to cook an assortment of mascarpone-based dishes. The only rule today is no tiramisu. Now, granted, I'm going into this with no expectations because I don't know at all what to expect here, but I guess I definitely wasn't expecting broccoli.
This is a pasta dish that Mama Rosa made for me and my sister during all the period we were at home going to school. Every week when broccoli were in season. Here I'm going to boil the broccoli for about 5, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, just to make them softer. Now that the broccoli are ready, we can start with the sauce for the pasta. And we start with some olive oil, a clove of garlic, and we start on a medium heat to warm up the olive oil. So we can transfer the broccoli into the pan. And with a scissor, we can actually cut them in smaller pieces. This is a very simple, basic tomato sauce, and I'm going to add some of it to the broccoli. And to help the broccoli cook a little bit more, I'm going to add a little bit of hot water. One thing that's very important is remove the garlic. Otherwise, you will end up eating an whole cooked garlic. And maybe someone will like, but we Italians, believe me, we don't. For this dish, I choose to make paccheri. Now, paccheri is one of those pasta shape that, in my opinion, is one of the best.
Absolutely agree.
Or also rigatoni, it's okay. But try to find them because they are very, very good. I'm keeping adding a little bit of pasta water because what we want is to mash the broccoli a little bit. Not all of them. Some we want in chunks, but some can create a sort of cream. No, cream of broccoli doesn't sound very good. The pasta is still very al dente, but we are going to transfer the pasta into the sauce and finish cooking it together. This is the moment in which we can add our mascarpone. So I'm going to use a spoonful of it. We add a little bit of pasta water just to help to melt the mascarpone. We turn off the heat. We add a little bit of pecorino cheese. And the pasta is ready.
Well, I've never had mascarpone pasta before.
So that's the first time for you.
Although then again, I really haven't had anything that's with mascarpone
Except
other than tiramisu. So I guess that's not saying very much. And broccoli pasta at that.
It's a recipe made for people who doesn't like broccoli, but they want to eat broccoli because at the end, you don't really, yes, you taste the broccoli, but in a very, how do you say, subtle way, very delicate way, because the tomato sauce and the cheese and the mascarpone, so you don't have the broccoli.
It's worth just mentioning that broccoli pastas in general are really amazing. We made a whole video about all different kinds of broccoli pasta. I'll put a link up there. And it's a category of pasta that I never thought that I would like, but I love them. They're really amazing.
Okay, so Harper.
Let's dig in.
I know how it tastes. As I said, once a week, coming back from school, this was the lunch.
I've never known a bad Mama Rosa recipe.
Buon appetito.
Definitely different than other broccoli pastas I've had.
Because as I said, this is a pasta with broccoli for people who doesn't like broccoli.
Well, I would say it's for both.
Yes,
If you like broccoli, you're going to love it. But yeah, if you're someone where, like me, you think, I don't know if broccoli pasta is for me.
That's for you.
Maybe try this
that's
one.
For you. Because you have a little bit of the acidity of the tomato sauce, but the very fatty taste of the mascarpone that, by the way, cut the flavor of the broccoli, the acidity of the tomato sauce is absolutely well balanced.
And unsurprisingly super creamy. My mind just thinks mascarpone, sweet, dessert, because it has this natural creamy sweetness to it, but like clearly it works very well in savory food.
And believe me, Harper, that mascarpone works amazing, not just for pasta dishes, but also for second course.
So meat. I think that's the smallest onion I've ever seen.
It's the perfect size.
For clearly what you're making, which is a sofrito. But what will you do with this sofrito?
Now you will see. Our second dish today is a meat stew. And we are going to use beef meat.
So a beef stew with mascarpone.
See? Now this is already cut in small pieces, but I'm going to cut it in even smaller pieces. Before we cook the meat, it's very important that we flour the meat a little bit. 0 all-purpose flour is okay. And just a little bit of flour. Olive oil. And we need to use some olive oil. And now we wait until the olive oil is warming up on medium-high temperature. I want to point out how beautiful is my new pot. And mostly is a personalized pot. This was a gift, it was my birthday gift, and it was lost in the mail at some point. So the Navarini company who makes this handmade here in Italy decided to repay us for the time that I had to wait with personalized them. So thank you so much.
We have no affiliation with them. They're not a sponsor. We just really like their pots.
They make some amazing pots. So the oil is start to bubbling, so we can add the meat. remove the excess of the flour. We need to brown the meat a little bit. After the meat is browned for a little bit, we can add the soffritto. The soffritto is carrots, celery, and onion, all chopped together. I'm going to add some sage, some rosemary, and a couple of bay leaves. And now we can add some wine. I'm going with white wine. If you prefer red wine, feel free to use red wine. Now we let it simmer until you don't smell the alcohol of the wine anymore. After you don't smell the alcohol anymore, you can add a little bit of tomato paste. Here I have some vegetable broth that I already prepared. I made this vegetable broth with carrots, onion, celery, parsley, and tomatoes. I'm going to add this as a liquid to my stew. We partially cover it, and on a medium-low heat, we let it cook for at least 45 minutes, 1 hour. After 45 minutes that our meat is cooking, the sauce is enough thick, and also the meat starts to be very soft. And these are all the signs that it's time for the mascarpone. So I'm going to add a spoon full of mascarpone. And we are going to help the mascarpone melt into the sauce. Now we need to let it cook for about 15 minutes without lid on, so the last part of the liquid can actually evaporate a little bit, and then our meat stew is ready.
In so many ways, this stew is very familiar, coming from an Italian food, background. And in many ways, it is very unfamiliar. What is this exactly?
This is one of those dishes that doesn't have a real name. But like, for example, the scallopine, like, for example, this. We add some mascarpone or cream at the end of the cooking process of the meat.
Gotcha.
It's pretty actually common.
Well, it's like an extra thick stew because not only did you flour the meat, which naturally already kind of thickened things, but then you added the mascarpone to thicken it even more.
It's very creamy.
It looks good. It smells
It's very
delicious.
creamy. It's Harper. We should try.
Absolutely.
Buon appetito.
Yeah, I love that. You knew I was gonna love that one, didn't you?
I know.
You knew I was gonna love that one, didn't you?
I know. The mascarpone makes the taste, I don't want to say fattier,
Yeah.
smoother.
Smoother? Yeah. It does what cream does, which can be dangerous. And this is why,
Very dangerous.
Yeah, you need to be careful here. What cream does, and mascarpone, because it's essentially cream does, is it will dull flavors. So if you want something to be really spicy or really tangy or really acidic or something like that, avoid cream and mascarpone because it will bring that down. But it does add that fatty richness and stuff. This, for instance, is very, very similar to so many other, I think about something like pollo alla cacciatora. It's very similar flavors with the herbs that you use and the sofrito and the meat
The
and the
wine.
wine. But adding that mascarpone just changes everything. And I would say it's not that one is better than the other, but if you have without the mascarpone, you're gonna have much more defined, sharper taste.
Yes, with the mascarpone it makes everything.
More rounded and more kind of subtle, but with that very rich, kind of fatty.
It's good.
It's good.
And the sauce by itself is very, very good.
Oh yeah, no, that sauce, man.
You can make some pasta.
I was just thinking, there are a lot of things I want to do with that sauce.
With the spaghetti, you just add the spaghetti into the sauce. I knew that you were going to love it.
Another surprise here. Definitely was not expecting a beef stew today in our little mascarpone adventure. It seems like, okay, you've made a first course, you made a pasta, you made a second course, you made a meat dish. I feel like for the final dish, you need to show me a dessert other than tiramisu that uses mascarpone.
So let's go back to the normal use of mascarpone, but without tiramisu. To make this dessert, we need to start preparing some coffee.
Are you sure you're not just making tiramisu?
No, I'm not going to make tiramisu, but we need some coffee, and we need mocha coffee. Because keep in mind that this machine doesn't make espresso. This is mocha coffee, and it's the machine that every Italian has at home. Not just one, but at least 2, 3, 4. How many do we have, Harper?
I would say 7 or 8.
Like normal.
So I see eggs, sugar, and obviously a stand mixer. Are you sure you're not making tiramisu?
Yes, I'm sure that I'm not going to make tiramisu because we are starting with using 2 whole eggs and not separate the yolk and the white like in all tiramisu. So we start with beating 2 whole eggs with a little bit of sugar. With the remaining sugar, we are going to prepare a syrup with a little bit of water. It's very important that our syrup will reach the temperature of 121 degrees Celsius. And then we are going to add this syrup to our eggs. And we keep beating them until the bowl is completely cold.
In case anyone is curious, that hot syrup actually pasteurizes the otherwise raw eggs, and you can use that same method with a tiramisu, and you'll find such a method in our cookbook, The Italian Family Kitchen.
And now it's time for the mascarpone. So we are going to transfer the mascarpone into a bigger bowl. And what we need to do is start to add a little bit of our egg mixture to the mascarpone. And we need to incorporate, to mix the mascarpone with the custard. I'm going to divide the custard into smaller bowls, more or less the same quantity. In one, I'm going to mix some chocolate chips. And in the other, I'm going to mix cocoa powder and almonds.
Okay, yeah, I'm starting to believe you that this is not a tiramisu.
That's not a tiramisu. So this is the dish that I'm going to use for this dessert. In Italy, we call this plum cake dish. And what we need to do is put inside some plastic paper. This will help us when we actually remove the dessert from the dish. We are going to use for this dessert Savory.
Hey, wait a minute. We're back in tiramisu land now.
No, because you saw that isn't a tiramisu. But the cookies that they are used are the same. Savoiardi or ladyfingers. The first thing that we need to do is actually to measure the Savoiardi because they are too long, so we need to cut them. I keep my coffee straight this time because this recipe requires for a splash of rum. I'm pregnant, so I don't feel comfortable to put some rum here. But if you're going to make this recipe at home, please put some rum. I'm starting with placing the Savoiardi around the edges of the dish. Like you do for the tiramisu. You dip in coffee and then you place into your dish. And now we need to place the whole ladyfinger at the bottom. Because I'm a very precise person. I don't like holes in my dessert. So what we need to do now is placing our custard. I'm going to start with the white one, the one with the chocolate chips. And now I put the chocolate one. Now we need to cover it, and we are going to use those small pieces of ladyfingers because this will be the bottom of our dessert, so we don't need really to worry to be pretty. And we can use what we have. We cover it in plastic and we place it in the freezer for about 2-3 hours.
Freezer?
Freezer. I'm telling you that it's not a tiramisu.
Clearly.
3 hours later.
This is what we call in Italy semi-freddo. The category is of semi-freddo, which means it's not an ice cream, but it's close to an ice cream.
So it shouldn't be like rock hard
No.
frozen.
Now is the moment of the truth.
Well, it's definitely more visually impressive than a tiramisu.
Yes, because it's like,
Yeah, it looks much more like a much more intricate recipe. Cool. Nice. Now we gotta try it.
oh yes.
This is cool. I am excited about this. I mean, obviously it has a lot in common with tiramisu, which I love so much, but it's been a long time since I've had like a tiramisu where I'm like, ooh, I don't know really what to expect here. You know what I mean?
This dessert has a name and it's called Stracchino della Duchessa.
Stracchino of the Duchess.
Yes, it's traditional from Emilia-Romagna, most from the city of Reggio Emilia. It seems that it has like a noble origin.
I would assume so, being named after a duchess.
The shape is what gives the name because it looks like the Stracchino cheese.
Ah, they're excited here.
Are you
Really excited, actually.
to try your first sweet Stracchino?
Yes, yes. Wonderful texture already.
Buon appetito.
Ooh. Hang on, just a moment. Be right back.
It's very good. It has the tiramisu vibes, but it has at the same moment nothing maybe to do with the tiramisu.
Obviously, a lot of flavors in common with tiramisu. If you like tiramisu, you're going to like this. If you like this, you for sure like tiramisu. That is for sure. But it does some things that are very cool. And again, it's really like exciting to have something that's like a tiramisu, but like so different in so many ways. The chocolate filling with the almonds and stuff, very, very delicious, very good. And also the way that it's like this semi-freddo and like a cold kind of ice creamy version of tiramisu.
And actually,
amazing.
this was made fresh. So we kept in the freezer 1 hour, 3 hours, and then we are going to eat it. If you keep in the freezer for longer, keep in mind that before you eat, you need to take out from the freezer
just kind of
at
let
least
it thaw a bit.
For an hour.
That's a good thing to just keep in your freezer.
Absolutely.
For when you want it.
Absolutely.
Love this.
I know that nobody can be tired of a tiramisu, but if you want just to spice up the situation a little bit to impress
do
your
something
guest,
different.
do this with us.
Now that I've learned from you how to make tiramisu, now I have to learn how to make this because
Fracchino della duchessa.
mix things up a little bit.
You can play.
Speaking of things that seem like very classic dishes, but are an interesting twist, a quick shout out to pasta grammarian Teresa, who made a recipe that is over on Patreon. It's one of the monthly bonus recipes Ava does over there, which is a baked eggplant dish that on paper seems like a Parmigiana di Melanzane.
It is not a Parmigiana di Melanzane.
But it's what we make when we want a Parmigiana, but maybe something a little bit different. And it looks really good.
Teresa, you did a great job.
All of today's recipes will be down in the video description below. If you make any of them, tag us in a picture on Instagram or Facebook or Patreon. If you know of any other cool recipes that use mascarpone, please let us know in the comments below. As I learned today, you can do a whole bunch of things with it. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And we'll see you next time.
Ciao.
Ciao.